Hey, welcome to Holistic Mojo. I'm Sahara Lee, and this is class 4 of our therapy ball workshop for December. So, you're gonna grab your balls and we're gonna start where we always start, with our feet. So just taking one of the therapy balls and under your foot, and we're going to lean into it and just stripe from front to back on the foot. So again, you control how much pressure you put here by how much you lean into this pose. And once we kind of get that foot warmed up a bit, I want you to just notice any places where you're feeling a lot of intensity. And you want to find one of those places, put the ball right on it, and then just kind of stand into it for a second. So just rest in that area. Let the foot drape over the therapy ball. And then you're going to bring your weight back onto your standing foot and then lean the weight into that ball. So we're just kind of pulsing into it to start. So it's a bit like a spring-loaded action. And then if you want to go deeper, you can internally rotate as you stand onto your standing leg. And as you shift into that ball foot, you can twist and externally rotate. Pull it back, internally rotate, externally rotate. And just find a couple spots, shouldn't be too hard, in your foot to do this too. And you might get some cracking in your foot, which is always great. And then we're just going to roll again, front to back. Shake that foot out, rack it if you can. And then we'll switch balls, switch feet. Start again just by striping. Front to back, you control the intensity. Again, you're just noticing any areas where you get a little extra oomph, shall we say. And then finding one of those extra areas and just stepping into it for a second, relaxing the foot, letting yourself melt over top. Making sure that you're connected to your breath as you're doing this. So when you are uncomfortable, tendency is to kind of pull shoulders up and hold the breath. So just be aware of that. And then stay in that area. And if you want, as you push your foot into your standing leg or push your weight into your standing leg, you internally rotate. And as you press into the therapy ball foot, you externally rotate. So internally, externally. Find a couple tender spots. And then rolling front to back. All right, so you're gonna grab the therapy balls and stay standing for our back work today. So we're going to do a lot of the same exercises that we've been doing, but just up against a wall. So if you find that these exercises are so tender, or you're recovering from a back injury, or anything like that, you can always do everything at the wall, essentially. So we're gonna find that big nubby where the cervical and the thoracic come together. Place the ball there, one on either side. And then you're gonna come to a wall and stand a solid foot away from the wall. So you've got some ability to sink back. You bend your knees and then just fall backwards onto the therapy balls. And if you need less pressure, the feet go closer to the wall. If you need more pressure, the feet go further away from the wall. And I'm just pushing through my feet, staying strong through my core and leaning into the therapy balls. And I can give myself a little like shimmy. So I'm just wiggling my shoulders front to back. And the back of my head is resting on the wall. And we can hold center and go through a lot of the same range of motion that we went through on the mat. So taking the arms up and back. And this time we can go even further because we've got that extra space between our butt and the wall. So we get a little more range of motion here. Good, and then snow angel. You might find when you don't have quite as much pressure on the muscles on the therapy balls that you get a lot more kind of like cracking and clicking. And when you get those, you want to do that eraser thing. So I'm just stopping and moving quickly over an area that's cracking a lot. And then I keep moving. And you can take the hands behind the head and just tuck your chin so you're stretching. So essentially, you take the head back and you push into the therapy balls and then you pull the head forward. And that pins the tissue and then you stretch away from it. So you can just kind of tuck the chin and send the head back a couple times, back and forth. And then we can do those little side bends that we did in class 1. So I'm just side bending right where the therapy balls are. That's where I'm trying to focus the bend in the spine. Good, and then I can take the arms out and up. That feels good. I can also do the scissors. So I'm just pulling one shoulder up at a time, and I can take that scissors straight out in front of me and start to pull those shoulder blades back. Good, and then relax. Send your butt back. Move the therapy balls down. So my butt goes back and I tip my chest forward to take the weight off the balls. Move the balls down a bit. So I'm right at the top of the scapula, right at the spinal ridge of those. And I, again, adjust my pressure with my feet. And I just do a little bit of a rocks front to back. So right shoulder forward, left shoulder back, left shoulder forward, right forward, back. So it's a shimmy, really. And then we take the arms up and down. Use that full range of motion. Try to keep your core nice and strong so you're not arching through the mid or low back. So my tailbone is lengthening towards my heels and my pubic bone is reaching up towards my belly button slightly. And then snow angel. And again, if you find a real juicy spot, stop and do the eraser. Taking the hands behind the head, tuck the chin and pull forward, and then release back. Forward and back. And then little side bends. cactus arms, reach it up and down. And again, if you get those cracks, you erase anywhere you need to. Good. And then scissoring and take it down. And release. Butt to the wall, tip forward. And just let those therapy balls slide down. So now we're right in the middle of the shoulder blade, butt comes forward, head goes back, and just a little shimmy. So you can do this if you don't have a wall, but you have a chair. You can do a lot of this stuff resting back in a chair. I take these on planes with me, and every once in a blue moon we'll actually use them on the plane. And I obviously don't want to put them on the ground because that's just gross. So I'll sit in my chair, which in all honesty is probably not that much cleaner. Sweep the arms up and back. And I'll just lean back, send my butt to the front of the chair and lean back. And do a lot of these exercises, and that's nice. It's also great, especially if you've got a little bit of cushion in your chair, to sit on them. Kind of roll around under your butt and under your hamstrings. And snow angel. And cactus arms. Hands behind the head, press and tuck the chin. Take a deep breath as you get to that maximum point of chin tuckage. And then exhale back. Inhale as you come forward. And then exhale, release. And coming back up, just side bending. And I'm trying to just bend right where the therapy balls are. And as you move down, it's more challenging to really articulate those muscles. Going center, reaching up, scissor. Oh, this is where I get all sorts of cracking. And then scissor, other plane. Arms down, butt back, tip forward. Just a little bit, let those balls roll down so they're right at the bottom of the shoulder blade now. Whew. Butt comes forward, you push back through your feet, adjust if you need to. Give it a little wiggle. Good. And then arms up and down. As we're getting into that mid-back, you'll need to really focus on keeping the core connected, so the rib cage and the hips connected to each other through your midsection. nice and strong. Snow angel. Good. And then cactus arms. Hands behind the head, push back so you pin the therapy balls. And as you inhale, you're going to tuck the chin and push. Exhale, come back up. Inhale, tuck. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Head is up and we side bend. Oh, that is my spot. So through this midsection, sometimes I do like to do that hug move that we did, which is essentially the shimmy that we start off with. But I can get a little deeper here. Good. And then scissor. And scissor. Oof. Forward. Good. Butt back, tip forward. Just going one more space down, maybe two. So yeah, we're right in the middle of that mid back, so just below the shoulder blades. Send the head back. Now, depending on how your body's made here, it might feel good to kind of drop the hips down. But you do want to make sure that you stay really connected. So thinking of those bottom ribs and the pubic bone as drawing towards each other. Give yourself a shimmy. So the more in under you your butt is, the more intensity you're probably going to have. And sweeping the arms up and down. Good. Snow angel. Into cactus arms. Think about bringing your elbows a little lower than shoulder height here. Really getting the bottom of those rhomboids as you pull the elbows down. Give it a hug, a rock. Whew. side bend. Good, and then scissor. This gets like right into the edges of the serratus anterior where they come in to the back muscles. Oh, and it's just murder. Scissoring here. Good. Arms down, butt back. One more. Make sure those balls are together. I find that they move a little bit more when you're at the wall. So at our lowest point, right in that mid-back, take your hips away from the wall as much as is appropriate for your body. Give it a little shimmy. And I find that because we're getting down towards the hips, I have to get my hips involved with the shimmy. Good. And then arms up and down and up and down. Just making sure that you're using your core to connect your rib cage and your pelvis. And then snowman or snow angel. Into cactus arms. Again, pull the elbows down as far as they'll go and then reach and back up. Hands behind the head. Inhale. You're going to round through the whole spine, so tuck your tail even a little bit. And then back up and keep the tail tucked. One more of these. Side bend. And scissor. And scissor. Release it down. And keep your feet where they are. We're just going to move down to where we find the top of the pelvis. Just below that, balls are together. And our feet are away from the wall, a good solid foot. We bend the knees, sink the butt back so that the balls are between our butt and the wall, or between our hips really, because it's top of the pelvis. And the knees stay bent and we're just going to hula. So I'm going to draw my hip up towards my waistline and then do the same with the opposite side. And we did this on the floor, but you can get so much deeper here. You might find that you need to take your feet wider, further away, closer together. The balls are going to move, so you're going to get a really nice massage that goes all the way out towards the hips as well, the outer hips. This is just one of my favorites. And it's nice on the floor, but it's so much better on the wall. And you've always got your eraser option. Here it's more of like belly dance thing going on. And as they get all the way out to the side, move them back center. And keep going. See how big of a movement you can make it. And then you're gonna roll down just one more. So we're right at the top of the butt crack on either side of the butt crack. Same thing, except you're gonna need to kind of tip your chest forward a little bit. So we're in a little bit of a V action between the torso and the thighs. And we just do the same thing. A little wiggle waggle of the hips. If you find juicy spots, you can stop, do the eraser. So from here, we're just going to take it in a 45-degree angle. You're going to be working with the hip that's closest to the wall, but I'm going to show you on the outer hip here. So if you're looking at down the side of your leg, if you've got like a pant seam down the side, and if you were to think about a seam running straight down the back of the leg, halfway in between, all the way up at the top of that hip is where we're going to start. So we're doing that again on the wall, on the hip that's closest to the wall. So I've just rotated my feet 45 degrees. I'm going to bend my knees and then sit my butt back into the wall. So I'm actually on that outer hip. And then I'm just going to choo-choo train. So I'm making a little circle. And pretty soon I'm going to have to start changing the way I describe things, because people are not going to remember those old choo-choo trains that arm did this. I'll have to find some other, I'm sure some like TikTok dance will happen. People will be doing something ridiculous. If you find a really tender spot, just stop and lean into it, breathe, relax your shoulders, your jaw, your forehead. Whew. Maybe shimmy, whatever you need. Okay, and then we're just going to turn ourselves sideways and we're going to step in closer to the wall. And we're going to do right down that side seam. So greater trochanter, that is the top of your femur. So we've got our hips, and people think that our legs just kind of like suck up into our pelvis oftentimes like we're a Barbie doll, but we're not. Everybody's hip joints are different. So what you're looking for is you want to palpate around, and you're finding where that femur bone comes into your hip joint. So for me, I'm a little inwards, so pointed towards the front. Some people are going to be right smack dab on the side. Some are going to be higher up in the hip socket. Some are going to be lower down in the hip socket. So it's really varies depending on your body. But you're looking for that, you'll feel it. It's like a big nub, and then it's soft all the way around for the most part. So if this right here is my greater trochanter, which actually literally looks like this. It's like this, and it plugs into your hip socket. I want to work all around that greater trochanter. So I'm going to go sideways into the wall, and I'm going to start below it. I'm just going to press the ball, and then I'm just going to get creative. I'm going to roll around and see what feels good. And find those tender spots. You may need to bend that knee. Just get real intimate with that wall. Some interpretive dance action happening here. So you're just working all that tissue that's around that hips joint, that ball and socket hip joint, because it swings around. It's such a big movement. So I mean, I move all the way from 45 degrees out from the wall to 45 degrees into the wall. You want to see what works for you. And then you can work straight down that side seam of the leg. Kind of drop the ball down, set it up. I like to put a shoulder in the wall here and relax the leg I'm working on because it's the IT band and it is pissed. And just kind of roll around. What I'm doing is rolling all through this side kind of panel of my pants, the outer panel of the pants. And it hurts like hell. Lower it down a little bit more. And a little bit more. And then just above the knee. Good. And then we'll switch sides. So we're coming back to choo-choo train. So 45 degrees, a little bit more away from the wall than you just were. Again, we're finding halfway between perfect side and perfect back. That kind of kitty corner. Starting all the way up at the top of the hip. Bend the knees. Send the booty to the wall. Choo-choo train. Get creative. It doesn't just have to be that round movement. And then we're going to find the greater trochanter. So we're not symmetrical. You might not quite fit together the same way on either side. You're going to palpate, find it, and then we're going to work all the way around it. So I like to start below it. And just working all the tissue around that hip joint. And then we're going to start to just work down the IT band. Again, just getting creative as you move. It's not going to be hard to find something that hurts here. You can continuously roll over it, or if you find a real juicy spot, stop, hang out. Move the therapy ball down a bit. Whoa. again. And then one more time, just above the knee. Beautiful. Take that for a little walk. Should feel like you got some real new hips. You want to grab a block or a really thick book. Set one of the balls off to the side. We're going to be working the chest. So you kind of section yourself off here, right down through the center and then right through the nipple line, okay? We're going to be going, we've got that like 90-degree angle thing there. We're going to go 45 right through there, okay? And that's where we're going to start. So we're kind of actually right above the nipple, just a little bit inside the nipple. And you'll have to feel around until you get a spot that's not too, if you're a lady, not too plump. And we're going to be working there. Essentially, you're going to be putting the block between you and the wall to give yourself some space. So stepping a little bit away from the wall, set the ball in place, put the block in place, and then you can just lean into it. And you can give yourself a little rolling action here. So I'm essentially just using my own body weight to roll myself all the way around kind of that upper area. Okay? If this is too much, you can always just grab hold of a ball and, like you're juicing something, just push into your tissue and twist. But if you can tolerate the wall, I suggest it because it is so much more intense. Now you're going to, I can hang on to this block, you're going to have the ball slightly, so we started off slightly inside medially of the nipple. We're going to go slightly lateral or outside of the nipple, so more towards the armpit. And we're going to pin that into the wall. And we're going to take our hand straight out. And then we're going to try to snow angel. And we're going to try to cactus arm. So you're really pushing in to the ball to pin that tissue as you try to take it through a range of motion. Now, if you found that like out here was really, really hard for you in the snow angel, you might want to take your cactus not just straight up, but kind of out to the side. And why? Why would I want to do this? It hurts so bad. And then I want you to take the ball right up under your collarbone, right about nipple line. Same thing. And I get this like in my shoulder blade. It goes all the way down my hand. So we snow angel and cactus, and you can kind of move that cactus. It doesn't have to be straight up and down. It can be out to the side, on the diagonal. Whatever works. Oh, and then release and just stand for a second. Oh. Take a couple deep breaths and notice the difference between the two sides. And then we're going to do the other side. So again, we've got this in kind of a right across the nipple line, right down the center. We've got that 90-degree angle. We're going to be working right up here, right above the nipple, just medially of it. Again, if this is too much, you can always juice. Just juice it away. Otherwise, go ahead, place the ball, lean into it, hang out, move around slowly. And you'll notice one side is typically much tighter than the other. And then we're going just laterally from that nipple line into the spot that really hurts. And we're going to snow angel. And then cactus arms. And again, you can take that in all different directions. Doesn't just have to be up and down. And then you're going to take the ball right in that nipple line, straight up towards the collarbone, so just under the collarbone. And we do the same thing. And cactus arms. And release. Again, just stand for a second. Move things around a little bit through that rib cage. Ooh. All right, so we're doing a little bit of lats and serratus. So serratus is kind of this finger-like grouping of muscles that comes right across here. And again, if you don't want to use the wall, if you don't have a wall or if it's just too tender, you can just press the ball into there and it should hurt like a bugger. But if you do have a wall and if you are up for it, you're going to use that area. I like to turn the block this way. Put the ball right in the center and find that. So I'm essentially nipple height again, just right on the side of my rib cage. And then I like to rest my hand on my opposite shoulder. And then I just tip back and forth and just run across those muscles. And they're, a couple inches from top to bottom. There's a few threads of them that go through. So you might want to just move that ball up and down as you go. And then switch to the other side. And again, you'll typically have one side that's more sensitive than the other. And you'll be sensitive in different places as well. And then our last thing today, we're going to work around the delt. So if you think of your shoulder kind of as an ice cream cone, so this is a big round piece of ice cream and this is the cone. So there's usually like a nice little round muscular area right here, okay? That's the delt. We want to be working, kind of comes down almost like a triangle here. We want to be working right in that attachment site. So you can, again, roll with the ball around there. You can juice some fruit around there, or you can take your block into the wall and use your body weight to work around there. So I'm kind of side bending to go up and down, but I'm also lifting my shoulder up and down. And it's just a matter of finding what works for you and finding those tender spots and hang out when you get a real juicy one. And then switch sides. And then release. And I want you to come down onto the floor with your block. And we'll just finish up with a little jaw work. So if you feel right in front of the holes of the ear, you'll find a cheekbone. And then just below that cheekbone, there's like a soft space. If you open and close your mouth, you'll feel your teeth move away from each other, but you'll also feel like there's a really big muscle there that kind of comes from just under that cheekbone down into the jaw, okay? That's your mandible. We're gonna work that. So again, if it's really tender, you can just kind of juice, or you can push and open and close. Or you can come down onto a therapy ball and rest your head on the ball. And it's going to be very intense. And if you want, you can open and close your mouth here. You might need a little more support under the head for opening and closing the mouth. And you can also shake your head gently, yes. And gently, no. And then kind of a circle. Circle in the opposite direction just to kind of tune up your brain a little bit. And then we'll switch sides. So other side. Again, we are finding that hole of the ear. You go straight out in front of it. You're going to bump into your cheekbone. Go below that cheekbone, and if you open and close your mouth, you'll feel that your teeth will move away from each other, and there's a big muscle that works there. That's where we're working. So if it's too much to use the block, you can juice, you can just press and open and close, or you can use your block. Start off just by resting. Then opening and closing the mouth. And then gently shaking the head yes. Shaking your head no. And then take it around in a circle. And go in the opposite direction. And then go ahead and come flat on your back. Set everything off to the side. We just kind of did a total body thing for the most part. So I want to give you an opportunity to just kind of self-regulate. So coming to rest on your back in Shavasana. Taking a couple deep breaths through your whole body. So feel as if your whole body expands with the inhale and contracts with the exhale. If you'd like to continue resting, you can. Otherwise, roll over onto one side, pressing yourself up to seated. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this month's yoga series. I really think that these are super beneficial and can help change the way you inhabit your body and how you move through your life. So highly recommend putting them someplace where you'll see them every day. And even if you just take 5 minutes and ask yourself, what do I need most right now? And go over something, it will, I promise, be life altering. So thanks so much for being here. Bye.